TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.
Good afternoon, it's Abby Baby, and we are streaming live from Douglasville, Georgia. We'd like to give special thanks to our social media director, Ms. Shantae Barksdale, and our executive producer, Mr. Felix Washington. With that being said, we're going to let the ladies introduce themselves, and we're going to get on with our topics.
Hi, I'm Lady D.
Hi, I'm Roselle Pompey.
And hi, I am #Kamala.
All right, our first topic, we're going to be discussing Miss Breonna Taylor. I'm going to give you a short run back on the story and we'll get into it. Breonna Taylor was killed by police while in her home on March 13th, as police were executing a no-knock warrant. The city of Louisville reached a historical settlement in her wrongful death case. The family was awarded $12 million, the largest settlement ever for a black woman in a wrongful death case involving police, and possibly the largest for a black person ever in America. No criminal charges have been filed against the officers as of yet. So it's not just our black men, it's our black women.
Yeah, and that's sad. And I see that no charges has been brought against the murder of this lady's daughter.
None of the officers have been charged.
But they're charging everybody else for all these murders and stuff. But for this young lady to go on this long and not being charged for her murder, the officers, I think is wrong. It's really wrong.
And it's very clear that there's something going on here. It was very clear that she had nothing to do with anything that they were looking for. It was the wrong person, wrong home. That has been acknowledged. We are aware of that. Everyone's in agreement of it. But why are there still no charges being brought against? Do you think it's because they're mostly white officers or just officers, period, at this point?
Probably officers, period, at this point, because there's no reason why they have not brought charges against these officers. It just don't make any sense.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's the fact that they have not acknowledged any wrongdoing speaks volumes. I do know that there is a possibility that the prosecutor would bring to grand jury this week criminal charges, and most likely it would be brought against the officer that was fired, but no information pertaining to the others. And it's like, what is the due process here? Like, where's the justice?
You think
where's
she's
the
just being utilized
hold-up?
as a scapegoat?
I'm
You have
sorry?
to have somebody charged. You think he's just being a
Well-
scapegoat at this point, maybe?
I think they have to really look at how there's this policy of no knock,
Yes.
okay, and just being able to walk into someone's home has to be revised and looked at and seeing what's going on. So I think there's some issues with internally, like the department it's looking like they're very disorganized, dysfunction. So they don't even know where to begin, I think. My personal opinion. They don't know how to investigate what happened. Paperwork is just missing or
Very
inadequate. It's just a mess, a complete mess. They have to do a whole overhaul in their process.
And why was it so many shots?
Right.
I mean, it was a lot
What
of
I would
shots.
like to say in reference to the case is that what was wrong with that is because, for one, at first, initially, I thought they had the wrong apartment.
Yeah.
But come to find out, they were actually at the right location. They was looking for her other ex-boyfriend that was, I think, on parole or something like that, and that's who they was actually looking for. So the new boyfriend was just basically, I guess, at the wrong place at the wrong time because of, I guess that's the line of men that she was dealing with at the time, you know. So God rest her soul, but they had a reason to be at her house.
But do you think that her ex-boyfriend was a possible threat so bad, like maybe with weapons or something like that, where they had to execute a no-knock warrant?
That I cannot say, but what I will say is in reference to the no-knock warrants, because Katherine
Yes.
Johnson, it was a lady named Katherine Johnson that actually was, she was killed in reference
older
to
lady.
a no-knock
Yes, the
warrant.
older
I
lady.
remember
And
that.
she's an older woman, and she was killed in reference to that, you know, just trying to protect her own home. So with something like that, I feel that, you know, really, who could really be right in that position because it's behind a door. You know, when it's a door involved, you don't know who on the other side, and just goes both ways. They didn't know who was on the other side trying to come in, and the other people didn't know why. You know, officers didn't know
Yeah.
why people were shooting from the inside.
But it still should be a procedure that you have to follow, even with a no-knock. It should have been a procedure. It was too many bullets going into her
her
house.
home,
It was
yes.
too many.
It was more like
And
an execution
what was
than
the
an accident.
procedure
Well, it was
there?
more than one officer shooting.
Yeah, but it was a procedure. What was the procedure for you going there with all those bullets? I mean, that was a lot of bullets being shot. And it should have been a procedure on how to do a no-knock.
And I agree. And
I
once
mean-
again, like we were saying last week, when it comes to them getting the proper training to execute these things, they have to be trained. Not only trained, because we talked about
Yes.
that too. They can be trained, but they just don't practice
Yeah.
what they're being trained to do. You know,
Yeah.
so you have to understand that on an individual level as well as a corporate clique. Is what I can call it, a corporate clique. Because the Blues, they're going to take care
Yes.
of themselves. It's like a family, you know. And what I mean by that is that's why I believe nobody was charged.
Absolutely.
Because they all went in, no single one person was shooting. And so who's going to take the blame? Yeah,
All
they-
of them should take
I would
the
say
blame.
are they all gonna
Every
take the
last one of
blame?
them should take the blame.
Exactly.
If, whoever had a bullet to come out their gun should take a blame.
So are they all going to
So,
take the
yeah,
blame,
all of them
or
should take the
are they
blame.
trying to actually do an investigation to single out one person?
They've
Right.
already given a settlement as their way of saying
Girl,
that they're
yes,
sorry.
$2
their way
million.
of-
12?
Yeah, $12 million. And that's still not enough to bring
I would say
anybody's
that is not
child
enough
left,
money.
nobody's parent back. But I believe that that's their way of acknowledging that something was done wrong. I don't believe they're bringing up any charges because that would just be literally just laying it flat open like, yes, we're wrong and we did that. And I don't think that they're going to do that because they're police officers. They still have to be looked at in a certain light. And the police officers, we can't have them doing wrong. We can't have them admitting to doing wrong. Because where does that come with the civilians when it's now time to interact with police officers?
So how do you expect people to look at you in a certain way when you're carrying on and doing the things to kill? I mean, you're literally killing a lot of people, for innocent people in that. Even with Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson, innocent 80-some-year-old woman
Lord have
who they took
mercy.
her life over a no-knock and had the wrong house.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
how many times are we going to excuse them for making mistakes and taking people's lives.
Mistakes after mistake after mistake. And the thing is, what I don't like about that is how they're always able to just say simply that, hey, it was a mistake, we're sorry, and that's it. No, there need to be some consequences just as well as it would have been if it was an
And it do.
individual.
It does.
They don't let
It
the
needs
officers
to.
speak. They don't let the officers give a comment, apologize, acknowledge that they were wrong. They don't allow any of that.
No.
It's immediately you go into hiding. You're still going to get paid for it. You may be off duty for a little while, but stay home with your family, relax, and enjoy this time off while we cover it up for you.
Right.
That's basically what it is.
It's called being transparent, right?
Yes.
Right.
So, and having accountability. So part of the settlement that they agreed upon is to have the officers go through supervisor first before they submit the no-knock warrant to a judge
Yes.
to review and make sure that all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed.
Yes.
And I agree. The police department has to have procedures where if accidents happen or situations happen, because they're human too, just like
Yes.
us, some form of transparency and accountability.
Yes.
And it also needs to be an internal affairs department, and that's also part of the settlement, is to have internal review that will happen when cases like this have occurred during the police department. And this is for all police departments. But the thing is, too, you have these police departments that do not have funding to actually have internal affairs within their small little small towns. Can they do that? But it needs to be, we have to start somewhere.
Yes.
But you got police officers taking oaths on things that they know they're supposed to do. But
Yeah.
just because they take that oath does not mean they're a good officer. Because they
And
can
does
go
not
in
mean
there
they're going to hold their
Yeah.
obligation to the oath.
to what that
And
oath
as well
says.
as they
Yeah.
have a compliance office where you can go in reference to like wrongdoing, actually making a complaint, and like you said, with actually having affiliation of where you can go in reference to telling people what's going on within your city.
Yes.
But even with going through them, they still have that control. You know, they'll it's to the point that where they'll say, well, too much time has allowed it, or your case is old, or it maybe it's not even eligible enough in their eyes to even be looked at.
So, $12 million, that's a lot of money. They go on to say it's the largest settlement ever for a black woman in a wrongful death case involving a police officer. That is a large amount of money, but obviously we know that's not going to bring anybody's child back, anyone's parent back, friend, sister. It's it. That's, she's gone. She's dead. Do you think that, although we know it's not enough money, do you think that the amount could have been more, given the situation?
I think that it should have been more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
it
reason
should
why
have
I feel that it should have been more because Breonna Taylor, not only was she a woman and a mother and,
was
and,
an
a, and a
EMT,
daughter,
right?
but she was an
yeah,
EMT.
yes.
So she gave back to her community. Not only was she an EMT, but she did, if I'm not security or something like that, like a part of law enforcement.
Yes.
So she was giving back to the community in a positive way. It wasn't like she was somebody that was that you could expect, basically that was negative in the society.
I think that's the part that bothers me most, is because as we look at her record, we see that she was an actual good woman.
She was a good woman. She was a working woman. She was a
positive
positive
and
image.
this is what she got.
And
She
then
was a positive
there's
image to
Yeah.
like women, like us.
Yeah.
That want to give back to the community and want people to feel that the
Yes.
community is safe. And it's sad that since she was in that type of lifeline, that she had to go out like that. That the actual people that she were basically like brothers with,
Yes.
became her murderers.
And there's no amount of money that's going to bring your child back.
Ever.
No.
No amount of money is going to bring your child
Listen,
back. And they could have gave her
$12 million
more than that.
It
Yeah,
allows
they
you
could
to
have
live
gave her more
comfortable,
than
but every
that.
day that is on your mind.
It
that
does
you're
not
living
for
today.
somebody that's not used to that amount of money.
You're right there.
For one, I would say you could have gave $1 million for each year of that lady's life.
Yeah, you could have.
We weren't gonna do that, though.
For
No.
each year.
No.
No, it should have been because she was just taken away. And she was in the right place at the right times. Not speaking like the
Correct.
boyfriend. She was at home.
She was at her
in
home,
her
peacefully,
bed.
where she should have been.
In her bed. Like when she was killed, she was butt naked. Like her whole her purity was stripped from her.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, they enter into her home,
Her
and
sanctuary.
automatically, you know, our instincts will tell us to
Yeah.
protect ourselves.
home,
You
our
know,
But even with her mom getting that amount of money, that's going to be in her mind that her killers are still out there free.
Yeah.
Still being able to celebrate holidays, birthdays, all this with their family. She won't be able to do that anymore.
Yeah.
There was a slight cover-up after she passed away. Apparently, her mother said that she had been dead for almost 4 to 5 hours before they would let her know. And her mother was on the scene of the crime but couldn't get into the apartment.
Yeah, they would not let her in.
They would not let her in, that the officers were giving her the runaround, that she's at the hospital, she's here, but never once were they letting the mother know that she was already deceased. Why do you think that officers would do something like that?
because, for instance, in any other case, when they are caught doing wrong or they are caught on the other side,
Yes.
they always have to be careful on what they do and what they say
They immediately start covering up.
immediately. It's,
And
it's
they
like
have
it's
to-
not even a train
They
of
have
it's,
to
that's not
cover
even
a
a
lot of
thought.
stuff. They have to cover that whole scene before anybody gets into that building. They had to cover and make sure their mistakes was cleared with everybody. Or all the officers that needed to be there, the lieutenants and all that stuff there was there first.
Well,
Yes.
we're assuming that they think that they did something wrong.
Absolutely.
Because they could have
Automatically.
they could have just assumed that, you know, that they did the right procedure, they followed the
Right.
protocol, and we're doing our investigations.
point, they
and,
knew.
And,
Yeah.
and, you know, well, yes, when they figure out that the evidence was not what they were looking for, wasn't there, and the individual that they were looking for wasn't there, and was in custody already.
In custody
Oh,
already.
Okay,
See, that's the thing.
So
He was in
y-
custody
he-
already.
He was in custody already, and I agree. There's no fixed dollar amount to replace a
Yes.
human life. However, what I would like to see is more detail about police reform, because at the end of the day,
Yes.
we can't have this happen to anybody else if we can prevent it.
Yes.
If we can put in
Exactly.
policies and procedures to hold these officers
Accountable.
accountable for
Their actions.
because you can make a mistake, obviously, but you know it's
I think
important.
this went beyond a mistake.
Like
I think
Yeah,
that
oh,
they were-
absolutely.
Like that.
In this case, yes,
Yes.
beyond mistakes.
Yeah.
It's sloppy police work, in my
It
opinion.
is, and then not only that, like it's like, okay, so you
light
can't tell
blinking.
me exactly what's going on with my baby right now.
Yes.
Like, why you want to not tell me?
Right.
Why do you want me to think that she's still inside, knowing that she's not?
Yeah.
Well, it's an unfortunate situation, and we like to just say rest in peace to Breonna Taylor, and we hope that
Rest
this,
in
Yes,
peace, Brianna.
R.I.P.
this
baby.
comes together perfectly for the family, and we just like to let you know that thank you for joining us, and we're going to commercial break.
After these messages.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom Inc., reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Welcome to Burke's Jewelry. How may I help you?
We're looking for engagement rings.
We offer a wide selection. However, I believe we have just what you're looking for. Burke's Jeweler is your family's jeweler at 491 Flat Shoals Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30316 in East Atlanta Village.
Okay, welcome back to Talk Show Divas. We are here on set, streaming live, looking beautiful for each and every one of you that are out there watching. Thank you.
Thank you. That's
Yes,
right.
honey.
We want to say thank you to Gigi for watching. Thank you so much.
Hi, Gigi.
Hi,
Thank you
Gigi.
for
Put your friends
David
on
for
here.
watching.
Hi,
David
Mom.
Johnson. All right. Thank you, Mom.
We're going to start talking about our next topic, which is concerning Pastor Sharon Edmonds. Going to give a little backstory on that. So, Pastor Sharon Edmonds allegedly committed bank fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, making false statements, aggravated identity theft, and perjury. Edmonds, along with her crew, were creating fake credit card profiles, altering client credit card data using fake IDs, open credit cards using fake identities, cashing out funds through prepaid card, and is being accused of defrauding banks, lenders, merchants, and landlords. Edmonds and her crew all face 82 years in prison.
Wow.
That's a very long time.
It's a federal offense.
It most certainly is. And I think the thing that we often forget sometimes when we're looking at people who are pastors or doctors or anyone who holds a title, we expect more for them. But we have to keep in mind that these people are merely just human, just like you and I. And they do make mistakes, some of them intentional.
And they kept it in the family.
They sure did. Get that money
They kept
They
it
really
in the
did.
family. It went down. They was getting cars and everything. Kept it straight down the
They were
line.
living the good life
The
in the name
good
of
life.
Jesus.
Yes, they
Hallelujah.
were.
Yes.
And guess what? He said he'll make you rich.
Oh,
And it'll
Lord.
be plentiful.
Yes.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Sure
That's the
did.
word.
But I don't think he meant in that way, sis.
Well, he don't, but when it comes, you gotta accept it. Is what I'm saying.
She said when it comes, you
You
gotta
gotta
accept
accept that blessing when it comes. You know,
Amen.
that's all I'm saying.
Not the wrong blessing though. That's what they did.
No.
They use their
I don't want that blessing when it's gonna come
That's what
back.
they did. Did they not?
You gonna come back with something behind
What
it.
did you say? You said they bought all these.
But they didn't
clothes.
donate anything to anybody.
I didn't say what they did was right. But what I'm saying is they used the blessing. Is what I'm saying.
They got
Well,
heavy
most
with the
certainly-
blessings.
They most certainly use their talents. A lot of people are actually hurt by this because, and I'm not just saying hurt, but you know, some of the people that they pulled into these schemes were actually anticipating something coming good out of it. Some of their credit repair profile companies that they were doing, people were actually paying them thinking that because she's a pastor's relatives, that they were going to benefit from having their credit clear so that they can purchase homes, cars, and property themselves. Wow. And now we have a bunch of people who not only were already in difficult circumstances, but now they're out of money with someone that they trusted. They still have nothing at the end of it.
And their credit was not repaired. They just made false documents
Absolutely.
like it was repaired, and it
once
wasn't.
again, that just teaches you that it doesn't matter if you're a pastor, a first lady, a doctor, or
Absolutely.
whatever your title may be. You're subject to doing wrong just like the next person.
Absolutely.
You know, but you can't sit right here and hold them at a higher standard thinking like, oh no, they're not going to do that to me.
And see,
I
they
think that's what we do. We hold them to a higher standard because of the title. And
Yeah.
you know what? And it's not wrong that we do.
It's
right?
not. We
Hold them to a higher
should.
standard
Yeah.
Because
you're
of who they are.
Yeah, you're taking an oath and you're coming through as someone who's supposed to teach and, you know, provide fellowship for me to encourage
Yeah.
me along my life so that I can do the same for my family.
Yeah,
But yet
exactly.
here you are doing all of this behind the scene and I don't know about it.
Yeah, and the fact that there's two problems here, and I'm a banker. I've been in banking for over 25 years. So when someone comes into the bank, my parents believe in child labor. So when you come into a bank and you give your credit card information, your personal information, you are entrusting that individual
With
to
your
take care of your
information.
Yes.
personal information. And when you're going to get your credit repaired so that you could purchase a home or buy a car, who's going to suspect their pastor or
It's
to
taking the
be-
information to do something else
to
with
do
it.
something wrong? Exactly, and fraudulent. So
You never
it's
have that
just-
expectation, especially with the pastor.
No.
You would have never thought that.
No,
You
absolutely
know, some people
not.
trust their pastor more than they trust their parents and their
Oh,
husbands.
their own husband
Yeah.
and spouse.
Yeah,
Exactly.
their husbands or wives, yeah.
I mean, and the thing is too, when you're giving that personal information, it's a total violation,
Yes, it is.
complete violation, and it's like the most appalling thing ever is the greed that's behind all of that. And what were you thinking? You didn't think that you would get caught?
That's what I like to ask myself. That you have
Well,
to know
just know
that's
this.
a lot of money.
Right, but know this. Every person that's in that lifeline,
Yes.
or you don't even have to be in that lifeline, when it's decisions to be made, that's what you have to do. You either take the right road or the wrong road. And you always have a room to escape, to say, well, no, I'm not going to do
Yes.
that. So it's a decision. They know that they wasn't going to get away with it, but it's just the thought of saying, I just might.
But they had somebody in every category of
help,
this
to
phone
assist.
and everything.
Yes.
So they crossed their T's and dotted their
Well, they
I's
thought
very
they did,
well.
but they had a little bit more T's and
But how
I's in
long
there.
did it go on?
Yes,
How
we're
long
talking
did it go
about-
on before you got caught?
Almost 15 people involved, so they're
Mm-hmm.
definitely crossing all of those
Multi-layers.
T's and dotting those
Yeah.
I's.
Where-
Yes.
And once
But
again,
even that, 15 people, it wasn't enough.
once again, you will be, fraud is fraud, and
Yes.
people are going to, I've seen, like, I was trying to say earlier is, I've seen all kinds of scams that have happened, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to get
Caught. Yes.
it's, to me, why not do the right thing? Repair these people's credit, grow a legitimate business,
Yes.
and
Because
get
you have the
wealthy that
following
way.
already, and people are willing to come to you
Exactly.
because of who you are.
Because of who you are. But then not only that, if you actually give them what they paying for, and it come out and they have positive results,
They're going to share it with other
they're
people.
going to refer
Exactly.
people. Your business is going to grow. Your clientele is going to grow. Not only that, but then now you can have multiple locations instead of just one.
Exactly.
But you know what I hate mostly is when they target the older people.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of fraud out there with older
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
And like I was looking at the news where this girl father had died, and she was collecting his check. So she was falsely collecting his money, and that was just recently. And they had to keep asking her, "Where's your father? Where's your father?" To her aunts and uncles started calling the police, trying to figure out where their brother at. And all the time she knew he was dead, but you kept collecting his money. That was fraudulent. It's so much
fraudulent.
It's
But
so much
But it
error.
happens
Not
all
your
the
parents.
time. It happens all the time.
And the thing about it, it's hard to get your identity back once someone has stolen it. And your
Lord.
social security number, your bank stuff. I mean,
yeah.
people
Just everything, your
are doing that. You got
passwords.
people on the prowl waiting on you. Even with online internet, you want to buy this for $1.
yes.
Yeah, they just want you to click
pay-
a link and then they got your information.
Just pay the taxes, and by the time you give them all your information, they already got most of your money.
I myself am a victim of identity theft. When I first moved here 7 years ago, I had a woman who claimed to be from a church. I was only here a week. She claimed to be from a church, and they were giving away backpacks and gift cards or whatever, back to school thing. So she wanted the name and address or whatever, the children. And I gave her the information. She asked that we have photocopies of their birth certificates. And I said, absolutely no problem. But I wasn't thinking, because I was under a lot of stress. I've only been in town a week. I have no family, no friends. I took the birth certificates, got the copies, and I mailed it to the church because I didn't have transportation to bring it. If I had, I would see that it actually wasn't a church at all.
Wow.
If I had the patience, I would have Googled to see that address wasn't a church. The next year came around, and I went to file my income taxes, and my child was already filed. I had no idea who did it. There was warrants in my name. Yes, it was horrible. I had tickets in my name and everything.
Wow.
It was the worst experience ever. I had to file with the Federal Trade Center, Trade Department, something like that. They had a freeze on my credit. So, and it's been 8 years, and even now, 8 years later, I have to file my taxes with the PIN number.
I have to
Each
do the
one for
same
each
thing,
one of my
yeah.
children. If I do not have it, I can't claim it. And that's unfortunate, because at the end of the year, if I move or something, I have to make sure that's always updated, or I don't get to file my taxes for working hard all year long.
And you, as the victim, have to pay
Yes.
for something, and I bet you they're
The
still
ti-
out
there
there.
was almost
Did
$600
they arrest
worth
them?
of tickets. There was almost $600 worth of tickets.
Did they ever arrest
I
them?
don't even know. They
See?
actually had called, and I had made a complaint, and I called some other people and posted on Craigslist, and I had a couple people reach out to me saying the same thing happened to them.
Wow.
They wanted to do a news story on it, and they asked me to be a part of it, and I declined. I was just new in Georgia. I just didn't want any part of it. I just took it as a loss, but it's a loss that's still affecting me literally to this day. I'm trying to clear my credit, and I have a police report that says that these documents were stolen or misplaced, and that helps, but not everyone has that.
Right. Exactly.
So with the bank, like my banks, they will notify you, like if large amounts of
When money
money,
is
or they
taken out.
monitor you, and I think that's a good thing.
If you have
with
the
all banks now.
anti-theft protection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
because
yeah,
lot of them
to
just
that
come with it
point,
now.
and you should
Yeah.
set up also on your bank accounts where if there's a certain dollar amount is missing out of your account, that you would get an alert.
See, mine is set up to if it hits below a certain point, it's there. If I'm traveling, I always let them
You
know
should
where
do
I'm
it.
going. And
Not to interrupt you, set up where it's like $100 If it's $100 or more,
In one
that's debited
transaction?
out in
Yes,
one
okay, that makes
transaction,
sense.
you will get an alert so that you can stop it. And also banks have
And it asks you, yeah, did
systems
you make this
inside, if
transfer?
it's something out of your pattern, your normal pattern of spending, that they will alert you that,
Yes.
hey, we noticed that you're in shopping in Mexico. Because that
Right,
happened
yeah.
to me too. And someone was doing some transaction in Mexico. So that's why I tell my friends and family I don't donate to certain things. It's because I don't want my card out there. It's not
Yes.
because I don't want to donate, but I'm not using that vehicle that you are
That you
sending
done
me that
already,
little link.
right.
You know, even with Facebook, I know Facebook does vet a lot of, but I feel
Yes.
like it leaves too many
Doors
rooms
open, yes.
for error because I've seen on the back
I'm
end
very
all
cautious.
the
I don't even like
problems.
to use the ATMs. I'm very cautious of where
Oh,
I do
yeah.
anything now, and I have to be. I have to
Yes.
teach my children
Well, that's the
same.
world we living in today. You know, regardless of, you have to protect
It's
yourself.
sad.
You have to keep your eyes open and just, you know, watch out for your surroundings and your loved ones. You know, because it may not affect you, but it could affect somebody that you love. And at that point, they may really need what was taken from them.
Yeah, and when you have anybody or calling in and asking for personal information, hang up. Now,
Yes.
if you called in, that's a different thing. But if you're having a phone call from Georgia Power or Verizon,
Yes.
AT&T, or your bank saying, "Hey, we need your Social Security number. Is this so and so?" No.
Hang up and I'll call you
hang
back.
up. Exactly.
Hang up
And
I'll
what I
call
don't
you
like
back.
is when they be like, it's your Social Security. Can you read it to me? I'm like, don't you already got it? You read it to me and tell me what it is.
And see, that's how one of my girlfriends is. She
That's where I'm
said
at now.
the IRS called her about some taxes, and she was like, they was like, can you give me your Social Security number? She said, you the IRS, you should already have
Yeah,
it.
you should have it. You tell me.
She said, click. I
Yeah,
mean,
IRS
yeah.
doesn't call.
They do not.
They mail.
They don't.
They send you paper.
Yeah.
And even that sometimes is suspicious, right?
Yes.
But you have to make sure you look at all the symbols, the lettering, and you do your research before you respond.
Yes.
So this fraud situation is really like troublesome. It's a pandemic.
It's
But
a
they
pandemic.
trusted
But now
their
they don't
pastor.
even
They
went to the
trusted their
extent of,
pastor.
they done even got further to now they even doing digital wallets now. And digital wallets is like untangible. It's in the air.
Too bad these talented people can't take that talent and go work for a legitimate company or start
Because
their
they
own.
doing
Because
the
it's
same
definitely a
thing now
talent.
through Cash App, and Cash App is a digital wallet. So they doing fraud through that. So I feel that somebody somewhere gonna always try to get over. Like
In the system.
that's just how it is. It's always some good and some bad.
And that's
Always.
unfortunate. Thank you for joining us again. We're going to take a little short break.
Yep.
We'll be
Thank
right
you,
back with you
guys.
guys.
Thank you.
After these messages, we'll
All right,
be
she comes
back.
in next.
Hi, I'm Chief Gary Sparks with the Douglasville Police Department. Today we want to give you some safety tips concerning traffic stops. Take a look.
So you look in your rear view mirror and see flashing blue lights. What do? Remain calm. Yield to the right and pull your vehicle over into an off-road area that is safe for both you and the officer. Put your car in park. Remove your foot from the brake and turn the radio off. Remain in your vehicle. Have your driver's license readily available for the officer. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, visible for the officer at all times. If you need to retrieve any items from the interior, explain what you're reaching for to the officer and avoid any sudden movements. Rolling the window down completely establishes a level of trust with the officer and allows for ease of interaction during the routine traffic stop. Be courteous and polite. Be cooperative and willing to follow the officer's instructions. During a routine traffic stop, the officer will return to his vehicle to run the tag and driver's license verification and complete a citation if one is necessary. Once the officer returns and approaches your vehicle, whether or not a citation or warning is issued, please remain calm, courteous, and cooperative. Sign the citation acknowledging you agree to appear in court, and do not dispute the citation with the officer. The officer will give you a court date to explain or defend your infraction.
Okay, ma'am. Like I told you, I did clock you at 51 in a 35 mile per hour speed zone. I did issue a citation, okay? This here is going to be your court date. I just need a signature from you stating that you received a copy of this citation, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's your driver license.
Thank you.
Along with a copy of the citation, okay? You have any questions or concerns for me?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you have a nice day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Following these few simple steps will help ensure a safe interaction for both you and the officer.
I hope these few tips help you as it relates to dealing with law enforcement and traffic stops. Not only in traffic stops, but in all encounters with law enforcement. We hope that all our encounters are safe for the citizens as well as for our officers. Again, we want you to be safe, and if you have any problems with the Douglasville Police Department, don't hesitate to give us a call and make your concerns known. I would add that Georgia is a right to carry state, and we hope that if you are carrying, that on these traffic stops and all encounters, please let the officer know that you are carrying. This will ensure your safety and our officers' safety. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God keep our community safe. We are one.
Hi, I'm Michael Collier, funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network. Stay tuned, because that's how they do it over here. Big time party! All right, see y'all later. Bye. Hi, I'm Mike.
Hello, it's Abby Baby, and thank you for joining us at Talk Show Divas. We are streaming live from Douglasville, Georgia. We'd like to give a special thank you to our social media director, Shantae Barksdale, and our executive producer, Felix Washington. We'd just like to let you know, as you can already see, we have a new diva on set. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Shayla.
Shayla, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, Shayla.
We're going to jump into our third topic. Our third topic, we're going to discuss the situation that's it may be very triggersome to some people, so this is a trigger warning. It involves rape. There are 3 brothers in Louisiana who have raped a 10-year-old girl. All men are over the age of 30. They were friends of the victim's family. 2 of the brothers have been held in custody for quite some time, while the 3rd brother is on the run. The brothers were alone with the girl on September 9th when they began making sexual advances towards her, even offering her money. She refused, locking herself in the bathroom. However, the men broke in and they raped her.
Wow.
So,
we
haven't had a topic like this in a very long time, if ever. And it's very sensitive to me because I have children.
Mm-hmm.
It's even more serious to me because I myself have been a victim of sexual assault. So, not at that age, but I'm not saying that it doesn't still have an effect. Having something taken from you, your purity, your innocence. And especially by people who are supposed to be friends of your family, maybe even like family, family enough so that your parents trust them in your home to be alone with you while they're not there. So that's just, it's not only are you being raped, but you're being robbed.
All right.
I mean, you're correct. This is highly sensitive topic.
Yes.
And an emotional topic. Because there's so many questions that are running through my mind right now as a parent, wondering why was that child left alone with 3 men?
Exactly.
I'm thinking that. And the second thing is, while researching this, I found out that the brother that's on the run apparently was accused of sexually harassing her 15-year-old sister a few years ago. So what happened? I have so many questions about this situation.
Yes.
I'm devastated. I feel like this has personally happened to me or happened to my child. This story is so troublesome. I'm so emotional about it, but it's something that we have to discuss.
I feel like
Right.
it's something that for sure could have been prevented.
Oh,
Even
definitely.
if not all
Yeah.
three men were there, even if they decided to ask the older brother to sit, it's something that was already known that he attempted to sexually assault the oldest sister.
Right.
That's a judgment call that the parents have to make when it comes to their child and who's caring for them. Was the situation that serious where you needed child care, where you asked someone that already had an issue with your older daughter? Or do you just don't believe your daughter and go ahead and trust this man because he's an adult? And I mean, how does that work? Because
Right.
someone
It's
tells
true.
me
But
they're
it-
not
but-
going to be around.
But see, you have to realize too, we're on the outside looking in. And you have some people that's been a victim of sexual assault. You have like the parents or the adults, for the matter. They already sometimes be knowing what's going on.
Yes.
Exactly.
And sometimes they just keep a hush because of something that they may be receiving for them having you.
Right.
Or if the child tells the adult that, hey, this is happening, like the 15-year-old
Yes.
did, maybe they don't believe them.
Yeah, like
You know, you be so adamant, you try to get it out, and that's the hard part, is telling people and they don't believe you.
Yeah.
And then now you have to,
You're scared.
You're put on silence, because now you're living in this world by yourself where you're like, nobody's listening, nobody believes me. And then next thing you know, now they are having sex with multiple men,
Right.
and because now they thinking, well, this is a life for me. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I just feel like as parents, we have to do better, and we have to learn to listen to our children. Like growing up, I felt like I wasn't able to talk to my parents about anything that was going on, and I was scared and I was quiet about it. So I just feel like listening to your children is important. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is.
That's
You
right.
have to listen, because you never know. You don't want to have that on your conscience.
Yes.
If something happens and your child, God forbid, is taken away from you forever, like that's going to be on your conscience. That will eat you up. So
Right.
we just have to do better.
And I have some questions, because we're assuming that they were babysitters. Yeah, I don't know, I have no evidence, no proof, but
Yes.
there's so many questions. But one thing is just, what if they broke in the house? I feel like maybe they knew she was alone in the home, and broke in and offered her, allegedly they offered her money.
Yes.
And she turned it down and ran away. So maybe they weren't there as babysitters.
So
or
the file
broke in.
that I originally read says that she was left with them.
She was left, I
I'm
would say
not
she was
sure-
left with
yes,
them.
I'm not
So they were
sure.
already in the house.
Yes, I didn't come across anything that maybe suggests that maybe one of them or lived there. Maybe I didn't come across anything like that. But I wouldn't need 3 men to babysit my child. Unless they're
Exactly,
already in
3
the home and they
men.
lived there, that's something different. But unless one was left to babysit and he called the others, but they did offer her money to be quiet and try to get her to go along with it. And she went into the bathroom to hide. She locked herself in, but the bathroom door could not hold out 3 men.
Right. It's just
It's so sad, because I just had this conversation with someone about 2 months ago. I did a live video and I was discussing this very topic. And I had a woman who was 62 reach out to me and let me know that her father had been raping her since she was little, because she told the mother didn't believe her, and she tried to tell the relative, and the relative just told her, don't ever tell nobody that, such and such. Come to find out that the relative that she told
Was getting
the father
it done to her.
the father was had been raping her as well.
Wow.
And so we were talking about, in different countries you have these rites of passages that let you know that you're a grown woman, that you take into adulthood. Whether
Right.
you're a boy or a girl, a lot of other countries, they have rites of passages. And I was just sitting here listening to this woman talk to me and then going over my situation and situations that I've been told by friends, strangers, relatives, that it's kind of very clear that at this day and age, the rites of passage for a lot of young girls is being raped. And bringing them into
Marriage.
adulthood,
Yeah,
and
marriage,
that's
sex.
sad, because once that purity that you have is taken, you can never get it back. It's done. That's it. It's solidified. But that brings about a lot of situations that these young girls don't think they're ever going to be in. Not a lot, but some of them become sexually promiscuous at that point.
It does.
They don't
That's
know
what
what
I'm
to do. They want to
The
take
one
something back. you
Or
know?
they're trying to get something back.
Yeah, and it's sad. And again, as parents, I don't think enough of us are paying attention to even if your child doesn't say something, you have
So
to watch
body
how your
language,
child
your
acts.
action.
The
Don't force your
behaviors.
child to hug someone. If you tell you, say, oh, give him a hug, and like, I don't want to. If your child doesn't want to, don't force the hug on someone. That's an adult. They don't
Exactly.
need to be hugging everybody.
Right, and
Your
they
baby
girls,
shouldn't be
and
sitting on somebody's lap in the
and
first
that's
place.
right.
You know, some of these things we don't look at, and we have to. Even how your children dress in front of grown men nowadays, it's, you know, we can't even let our daughters wear shorts that are too small. And even though, you know, it might be an age appropriate outfit, we still have to keep in mind that there are people out there that are very close to home that are looking at that in a lustful type of way, and you just never know what
And that's what
happens.
they like.
And I never understood. I never understood what like someone who's grown can see in a child.
Yes.
Like, how could you see a child in that way? And it's in this day and age, when company was over, I had to go in the room.
Yes.
But now you have
No,
kids
they
in
don't
front
do
of.
it.
They don't do it, and then
They don't
they
even
wonder.
excuse kids
But
from
see,
adult
that's what's wrong with
conversation.
society now. The morals and the values and things that
It's
we used
gone.
to cherish and keep us grounded in certain areas, they no longer exist.
And we're not
Exactly.
saying that this is the parent's fault, because obviously you don't leave your children with people that you trust and expect them to do
Right.
anything to your child. But at the same time, we have to just acknowledge that the 15-year-old did make a statement already, and she should have been
Taken
listened to. She
seriously.
should have been taken
She
seriously.
should have been
And
cautious
this would
and-
happen, because even if we don't blame them, I'm pretty sure they're probably blaming themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, you mentioned rites of passage. I don't know if it's rites of passage. It's more something that's more structure.
Yes.
Where it's a transition from childhood to adulthood.
Right.
Right.
I feel like rape has
Not,
been something
not in a
that is
positive
like,
way, but you know, this is your boom, it's done. Now you know, and that's what's happening. So our innocence, our childhood is being taken away, pushing
Right.
us into that adult life far too soon.
yeah,
Far too
Exactly.
soon.
And I
Making
feel
you
like-
experience things that you shouldn't even be experiencing.
And what the point I'm trying to make is, I think that it's something that has been covered up in our society.
Oh, God, yes.
As something
Oh,
that
yeah.
we do not talk about.
Yes,
okay?
because it was
Especially
going
in
on
families.
back when our great-great-grandmothers
families.
was living.
Especially in
It's-
families.
they don't
speak
want to talk
family
about
business.
it. This is not
Right.
something, because for whatever reason, I don't understand it. I don't promote that. And I feel like I have a very dear friend that same situation happened to her. Not a blood relative, but he married into the family. And
So he's still
nobody
close.
wanted
Yeah,
to, but
right.
he was the breadwinner. So
Oh, God.
Nobody wanted to
worst.
accuse him,
Nobody want-
Yeah.
because
They
if they
gotta
accuse
protect
him,
them.
then
They
they
lose the
miss
money.
out on what they was receiving.
But also,
Goes back
these
to
guys,
what I was saying.
these men are abusive. So we're seeing it from one dimension, but there's
Yes.
several layers here. These men are abusive
Yes.
to these children. Imagine what they're doing to the women in their lives, right? So we don't know if that's why I feel like there's missing pieces
Pieces,
to
yeah.
this
The
story.
missing piece, let me tell you this too. You have to acknowledge this. The ones that's doing the act, they're not just doing the act because this is something I have heard as well. They're not just doing the act because this is something that they want to do.
Right.
They doing it because it happened to them as well.
That's
As they
a
were
possibility,
growing up,
yeah.
it happened
That
to
is.
them, and it
Or
just
that they
it
may
becomes
very
a
well
cycle.
experience something.
It just
similar.
becomes a cycle, you know, and as like I was saying, as they grow up, they consider that's normal. That's supposed to happen because it happened to them, and nobody did nothing when it happened to them, and they use that anger and they create that anger
Yes.
for somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And rape is never a sexual thing.
No.
Right? It's
a
always
control
it's a
thing.
control and a power thing.
It
So
is.
It is.
these individuals, for some reason, feel like they needed to make a statement, a powerful statement, by taking a virtue of a 10-year-old.
Or
Because they
in
can
their state of
control it.
mind, they are basically back when it, like how we were saying, like having real issues
Yes.
in our lives, you know, or having incidents that happened that changed our lives forever.
Forever.
You know, no matter how old you grow, older, you know, but still, whenever the incident happened, your mind will still retract back to that incident. So even though that they may appear to be a grown man or a grown woman,
Yeah.
but when they are in act and interacting with another child and doing it to another child, they are reacting, going back to when it happened to them.
And not only in a
Exactly.
situation like that, where because not everybody who has had this happen to them will turn around and do something to somebody else, it can actually cause them to be very closed off and standoffish, especially when it comes to relationships as they get older with other
That's
men
true,
or
too.
other women. It completely affects your
It
life.
can make 'em close
the
down.
rest of your life entirely. We do know that it's something that can never be redone and never be taken away.
Right.
And some people do heal from it with the help of, maybe therapy or something like that, but everyone isn't, afforded that, to be able to have that. But it definitely is something that carries on into adulthood, and it will affect you in some type of way. And sadly,
Absolutely.
once it's done, it's like there's nothing that you just can't do anything.
I have a question. I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but why do we not have more detail in the news about this topic? Like, I feel like it was just like a really short little few
I
paragraphs.
don't know if it's because it's in a very small. It's in Louisville. No, this is in Louisiana. I don't know.
It's probably.
Well, I want to
really
say
don't
something.
know.
I want to address that. The reason why it's always going to be short because they don't want to really talk about it.
Really.
They've been sweeping it under the rug for years.
Yeah, I was
It
gonna
goes
say,
back
maybe
to
it's
when
something that
they
happens
did
very
have
often
us as
there.
slaves, when we were slaves. They was taking us out of the field then and bringing us into the house and having sex with us, and then you had a baby. Out of wedlock or whether if you was married or not, they still did it then.
Yeah.
They was taking you out of the field and having sex with you, even back then in the slavery
I would like to
times.
see the rates of their crime rates for rape in that town and see how high it is. Another thing I was going to say is that oftentimes a lot of these rapes occur with someone who are closer to home than a lot of people may think.
Right.
Not
Exactly.
necessarily strangers, but always much more
Someone
closer
that
to
you
home.
know,
Yeah.
too, as well.
Because that's where the trust comes in and the loyalty and the familiarity
Right.
comes in. We're going to go to commercial break. We're going to...
After these messages, we'll
she
be
loves to sing.
right
We'll
back.
be right back after these messages. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Elmer Horn with Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and we're here in one of our communities, and Sheriff Pounds is here with us. And Sheriff Pounds is very involved in his communities, and he come out. We brought out our grill and our smoker so we can come out and help cook for this community. And Sheriff Pounds himself has come out and helped cook with us, and he's here to cook and help these folks today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the programs that I call Taking My Community Back. If you don't get out there and get involved in your community, you ain't gonna be able to get it back. And the sad part about it, we losing our young men at such a pace that it's unreal. We got to come up with something that will help us with these children. Got to. So this is what I'm doing. I love it. I'm out here in the sun. It's hot, but like I said earlier, we're gonna do these until we get that gap between law enforcement and the community bridge. We're gonna bridge that gap because we're gonna get out of here, we're gonna shake hands, we're gonna find out if they got any kind of problem we can assist them with, and invite them to the sheriff's office and come to the roll call. Just come see what's going on at the office. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you, Sheriff Pounds. And like I said, this is just one of many events that we bring this grill out to help with our communities and get involved. I'm here today at one of our community outreach days with our sound truck. And our sound truck is used for just what you see. We come out to community days, we play loud music, and be able to just have a good time with it and enjoy our community. At a sheriff's office, you get to see us in a little different light. We're not always out there writing tickets or locking people up. We come out to your community day and be a part of your day and help you celebrate your community. And this is just one of the ways that we can do that, was with our sound truck. We're here today in one of our communities. We brought our ice cream truck out. A lot of people like to laugh when I say the sheriff's office owns an ice cream truck, but this is exactly what it's for, is we bring it out to our communities. We give away ice cream. We don't charge for the ice cream. The ice cream is free. And we have partners in our businesses in our community that help pay for the ice cream so that we can give it away for free. And we give it away. We go to schools. This is just one of many events that we bring our ice cream truck to. We go to the school systems. We come out to community days, block parties. We just come out and see you and help you enjoy and celebrate your community. Thank you.
Better than you was a few minutes ago.
We are back streaming live from Douglasville, Talk Show Divas. We are here ready to speak, chat, and maybe even a little gossip. You never know. Our next topic, we're going to be discussing the crime rates. The murder rates here in Atlanta have gone up 140% since the time of protest. That's a very large number, but let me read you some back detail here. Murders are up 140% in Atlanta since the time of protest. Murders and shooting have soared since late May. However, overall, severe crimes are down 20%. For the whole year, rapes are down 60%, total arrests are down 55%, traffic stops are down 69%, traffic violations are down 74%. APD shows records that officers have been far less active than last year. The union states officers are more cautious, fearing that a mistake in confrontation can lead with them being charged or landing in jail.
Yeah.
So basically it's safe to say that the officers are now afraid of interaction with civilians, traffic stops and things of that nature, because the things that they're doing, some of them, not all of them, are coming to light.
Yes,
And
exactly.
we're shutting down on some of it. Not all of it, we still have a ways to go, but we're shutting down on some of it. And now they're afraid to act in their job that they took an oath to do.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be afraid. I mean, they should want to do their job the correct way. You don't have anything to be afraid of if you do it the right way.
Right.
It's policies in place, and when you took your oath, you were there to serve and protect. You didn't, you didn't sign up to serve and harm. So, I mean, is it something in your conscience on while you feel like you're scared to interact because something is going to happen? I don't understand.
Right. And if they're less likely now to interact or intervene, rather, in the situation that's happening, what happens to us, the people who actually need their help?
Right.
Whether we
Exactly.
like them, trust them, or not, there are situations where we need their help or need their assistance in something, and you would be afraid to act on it because of how it may affect
And
you
you
in the
see
end.
that because they defunded them, that's why a lot of they're not responding to a lot of stuff because they feel like, well, we've
That
been
sounds like a
wrongly,
tantrum.
they're taking our money for no reason, but there is a reason that they got defunded because they wasn't doing what they're supposed to do to protect and to serve as they oath say. That's what you're here to do for us, protect and serve. They don't do that anymore.
Like you said, their conscience. Is there something going on that would cause you to, are you one of the cops that
Right.
normally cause issues out in the street when
Yeah.
you're, helping someone that you don't want to be out there now?
A lot of them wear badges, and then a lot of them get a little extra carriage because they have a badge, so they feel like they can act and do certain stuff because they have that badge and they're going to be backed up. But now, with everything that's going on, it's all coming to light.
Yes.
So some kind of change has to happen.
Well, and yes, I agree there's change that needs to happen. But I feel like this is a form of protest on the police.
Yes.
However, we need to also look that this is a perfect storm that's going on, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic. We have people that have been indoors, restricted from going and doing their normal day-to-day
Yes,
things.
absolutely.
There's people that are trapped in the house with abusers. There's situations, people are acting, you look around, it's like, I find that the energy when I go to the supermarket aggressive, even
Yes.
more so than normal. So I think it's a perfect storm that's going on. To quote the mayor of City of Atlanta, Keisha Bottoms, she's saying that this is like the perfect storm with the pandemic, with the protests. It's just snowballed and became a thing. And now the police is like, listen, y'all don't want us to do our job, our hands are tied, but somebody has to step in and say, listen, we as a community need to do better on both sides. Police and the community
Yes,
leaders.
absolutely.
Where we go in, because you know what? At the end of the day, we pay their salary, but we're also responsible for our communities. We rely too much for authority to take charge of our community.
But see, this would
No,
have
you're right
really
there.
happened if, if you notice, it's a lot of cases where a lot of abusive police officers have had many charges brought against them, but nothing happened. So, of course, with that being said, I mean, it's going over and over again. Now, we're not saying all police officers are wrong, because they're not. You got some good ones out there. But
lot of good
the bad
ones,
ones is the one that put the negative on the good ones.
Right.
Because you knew well, I brought a case against you because you did something wrong to me, but nothing happened. It got swept up under the back burner. I could see if it was one time. I can't even see that. But some police officers got 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way down to 15 cases against them out of how they treated citizens and stuff.
And I don't know how we let it get that far. 1, 2, 3 is too many.
Yeah, and then we keep sweeping it under the rug. You can't keep, once you keep sweeping it up under the rug, that rug becomes a pile. You can never sweep trash.
It always comes to light when something happened and they pull that officer's jacket and they see all those things that he have done. It comes to light at that point.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the police stuff takes part. Like they have to, the officers that are with them, they have to stand up, and if they see something going on that's not right, they have to not stand back and watch. They have to
turn the other cheek. Yeah, and turn the other cheek.
But you know what? They're a part of, like she said, a clique. And sometimes people like to even refer to it as a gang. Whatever it is, you took an oath, and so your bond and your loyalty is now there with them. And even if an officer wants to say something, he most likely will not, due to the repercussions that he may face amongst his brothers. Technically, that's what you become. You become family. You know,
well,
and
why
so
can't we
it's hard
switch the narrative around,
right? If we could, we would, but why won't they?
Award police, the police department, this is part of the reform that I would like to see.
Yes.
Reward officers that do the right thing.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay? And have that checks and balance within the system. So that means starting from the top on down. Find out ways to encourage officers to say, hey, listen, that's not right. We need to follow the correct protocol and reward them. And build a better relationship with the community. So like part of the settlement, going back to Breonna Taylor's settlement, there are incentives that they're going to have police officers to go into the community and live there, where they're supposed to be protecting and serving. That's something that should be done in all major cities.
Yes.
Right.
And I believe a lot of cities are doing that, where you are encouraged to go in and live, and you get credit for being in the community.
And see, here's the thing, that sounds really nice, and I'm sure that they will learn something from it, but I don't think we should have to give anybody credit for anything. I think that if you want to protect that community, you would get to know those people regardless. And I would really love to see more and more people from the community itself become police officers and give that opportunity and encouraged to do so. Give them credit towards something to join the force.
I'm going to piggyback on something that you said. You said that most police officers protect each other as brothers, so then when that one do the crime, then they should all be charged as brothers.
Absolutely.
So if you're going to protect him, then you need to be charged like him. And I don't want to know why am I being charged and I didn't do anything, but you watched them do it.
So it would happen to us like that. It would be the same way if I did something and she was with me. She
we're both going to be charged.
She never told. We both going to get charged.
And it shouldn't take something big to happen for a little change to start happening. It should already be happening in general. It shouldn't take protests and riots for people to start like uniting and going crazy for change to happen.
Right.
Like it shouldn't have to. A lot of this can be prevented if the officers, they do their job and they say something. Like it all starts by saying something.
Well, to go off of something that you said earlier, we have to get the officers to speak or give them an incentive to open their mouth. Sometimes I don't think we realize, and this just came across my mind, I didn't even think of it until now, sometimes it's not these street officers. Sometimes we got to go straight to the supervisors and lieutenants, the captains, because they very much they know who they're putting in the street. They know if this officer has a jacket or not. So we don't, but if this officer is involved in another incident and the captain or the supervisor or whatever hears of it, they know that, well, this is the 13th now. Well, the community doesn't know, but I know. When are you going to take charge and take that person off the field or put them into some extra training?
Yeah, and that's a great point, because it starts with the top. So the top needs to make sure that there's systems set in to do checks and balances. And maybe it might take like a community advocate that would go and check what the police does. That's separate from the police.
Right.
And create that checks and balance.
Right.
And make sure that, okay, if there's 3 strikes, you got to go and see a counselor. You have to do some more intensive training, sensitive training, whatever it is that is required for that officer to better themselves and give them another opportunity to correct the behavior.
And hearing that, it makes me think if the offers concerning Breonna Taylor, if they feel anything, I would love to know that now that you said that. If you've had an incident that is like so serious like that, so severe, and you have taken a life mistakenly, are they sending them to therapy? Do they need therapy? Do they care?
They do. But that piggies back too to, we got to get in there and vote and get the right people in there to get it started. You can't get them started with Donald Trump because he's senseless. He's really senseless to matters that's really going on. But in order for us to make a difference, we have to vote and get the right people in office to stand behind us and make sure all the suggestions and all the stuff that we coming up with, that it happens.
And we have to vote on
without
all levels.
government.
A lot of people, we're just talking about the presidential, election, but we have to start in our communities as well, because a lot of people don't even go out and vote for their war leaders and things like that. And those are the people who are going to, affect you right then and there at your face-to-face
level. And going to the board meetings. Going to the community
they give you
board
opportunity
meetings.
to be a part of it.
Yes, to be the school board meetings. We need to be part of it. But the catch here, a lot of those meetings are around 6:30. Where are we most of the time? Outside of this pandemic, we're on our way home. We're stuck in traffic.
Just getting off of work.
So it's not
can't get there.
And I think that's designed on purpose. Me personally, why would you set a meeting up at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday?
Exactly.
For the community to vote on important matters like road development, where the taxpayers' dollars are going. You should set this up at a convenient time, 7, 8 o'clock at evening, for us to come together as a collective. And then they complain nobody shows up.
And have some refreshments too, because we
and
like
then
that type of
my
stuff.
thing too is you got a lot of senior citizens and stuff that can't get around the vote. It should be a way that their vote matters too. Even if we have to have somebody in that community go out with the forms or something.
Well, we used to have where I live where they would pick you up and drive you.
Yeah, like
I'm saying, what if you can't get? What if you can't get up to go around?
Well,
are you bedridden? Are you?
They did it online or something.
To call in, you could call in with technology now. But to the point, I just read something recently that Uber is going to be doing a discounted ride share for voters that want to go to the voting poll in November, that they are offering that, which I think is amazing because now we have to get out there every single year and vote. It's not
it needs to be a habit. It needs to be a habit.
I have friends who are highly educated said, "Oh, I only vote when it's a presidential election." I said, "Are you kidding me?
Right.
You pay tax. You only vote when? Every 4 years?"
At one point in time, I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't care about voting because I felt like everybody you put in office, within the long run, it comes up, they got something in their background that they don't hid, or they don't did something that violated, or they don't did this, or they don't did that. Sometimes you get tired of putting your trust into people who just disappoint you when they get in office, or when they don't do what they supposed to do, or they promise you everything. I promise you I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but when they get in office, it doesn't matter anymore.
So then it's time for us to step up.
Yeah.
It's time for us to take on the role and not complain and sit on the sideline. It's so easy for us to just sit on the sideline and tell you what you should do and should not do.
And it
we
shouldn't
have
be
to
a
get
joke.
involved. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said it shouldn't be a joke because I read that they had, for the Obama election, they had some other people on there and people didn't, they voted for like the stupid stuff that's at the bottom instead of what was really the focus. So every vote helps.
Every vote does matter.
Yeah, it does.
We'd like to thank you guys for watching again. It's Abby Baby, and we are coming live from Douglasville, Georgia with the Talk Show Divas. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.